Yo, man.
How are you?
Everything good with you? Everything good with the family and everything?
Absolutely amazing. Thanks for asking. No, I've cut down on the number of gigs, so I spent more time at home. I mean, right now I'm in LA, but I won't be traveling for, I think, a month and a half when I get home from this trip. So slowing down a little bit with the number of gigs, saying no, which is really hard for me to do, but quit drinking, working out a lot, feeling a lot better, in a much better place than I was.
That's so awesome to hear. Well, it's always great chatting with you. I appreciate your time. Armin van Buuren, it is awesome seeing you again. Welcome back to America's Dance 30.
Hello.
Now, we didn't do a show last week because we had a hurricane actually heading directly at us, so I wasn't able to... Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Our thoughts and prayers are with everybody that was affected down south from us. Luckily, we weren't affected, but I wasn't able to do a show, and I was worried that I wasn't going to be able to celebrate your song going number one. But luckily, One More Time is number one for the second week in a row. Congratulations.
Oh, wow. Really? That's amazing. I didn't even know that. Why does nobody tell me anything?
You should have a team. You really should.
I do. No, I have an amazing team of people. I just didn't know this. I knew it was number one last week, and it was, that was off the charts. I mean, I really didn't see that one coming. I'm just so blessed, It's incredible. Yoo-hoo!
Now, before we talk all about One More Time and find out how the song was born with Maia Wright, let's get to know Armin van Buuren a little better with a feature called Finky's Firsts.
Okay.
So I love finding out the origin story of legends such as yourself. Do you remember the first show you ever played?
Well, I started out in this really small club in my hometown, which was probably the size of your studio. It was really, really small.
Oh, my God.
You have a nice studio, by the way, but studios are that was my first club. So I think capacity was like 50 people, maximum 40, 50 people. And actually, that really got me into DJing because, if I DJ now, with all due respect, it's the crowd's usually up for it, so it's easy. But if you play for like 4 girls and 2 drunk guys, and that's a lot harder than 10,000 people chanting your name. So yeah, that's where I started, and I still cherish those days because in hindsight, that was my university, so to speak.
How did that first show go? How did you do?
Actually, it was empty when I started. And you want to hear something else funny? I always find it so funny. I did a 7-hour set like every week, 7 hours. And that was normal, right? Because there's a lot of DJs out there, big props to them who are currently listening, who DJs at bars and in restaurants. And, their sets are usually 7 or 8 hours. And, if you ask any, professional DJ now to play 7-8 hours, they're like, oh, no, can't do that. But I used to do that like every single week, and I had to clean the toilets afterwards. Yeah, it's quite a romantic story.
Stop! Did you really? Like literally cleaning the toilets?
Yeah, and I was happy to do so because my dream came true. I was actually a DJ and I was making money playing other people's music, and I absolutely loved it. And actually, that's where I got the friends that are still my friends to this day. I got to know them from the club, and it's kind of my student sorority. I was at a student sorority, but it wasn't really my home. And that club, the owner gave us a lot of freedom to play whatever we wanted to play. So we played the club music that was hot in 96, 97, 98. And it was amazing. We came together and we were grooving to the tunes that were hot in that time. And it's so funny to me because actually, referring back to One More Time, that whole sound is coming back now. It's making a huge comeback. So to me, it feels like home. Absolutely.
Well, I love hearing that story because I tell everybody when I got started here, I was an intern and I was literally cleaning back parking lots just to be able to make my dream come true. So I totally get, I didn't clean toilets, but I totally get that. Now, I think I know the answer to this next question, but when you get to a new city to play live, what's the first thing you do when you get to that city?
I usually go to the gym. and I usually sleep. I have a thing called the DJ nap. I love to have a quick nap and then a shower before I go to a gig. That's kind of my ritual. It's my little moment. I like to watch some Netflix or something, or some Amazon Prime. I don't know, whatever's going on, and then just snooze a little bit, and then take a shower, and then I'm usually ready to go.
See, I thought you were going to say that one of the first things is going out for a run, because I remember the first time that I met you here locally, you told me about how you love getting out and seeing the city that you're playing in.
Oh yeah, I do that. If time permits, I do that. Fun little fact about many hotels is that they have running maps usually available at reception, and I didn't know, but usually they include landmarks, so it's the perfect way to get to know a city, because I'm usually in a city no more than 24 hours, so I don't really have time to spend much. But if you want to get sort of a glimpse of what the city actually has to offer, it's a great way to get to know the city. So yeah, I do that very regularly, yes.
Yeah, I love hearing that about you. Now, you're about to release part 2 of your album Trilogy this month. What was the first song that you started working on for the Trilogy?
I think Oumuamua is a track that I wrote during COVID. It was very different, and I think it was featured on the first part of Feel Again. And it was just, me fooling around in the studio, doing something radically different, because one of the great things about the pandemic was that it gave us a lot of creative freedom, because, there was no deadlines anymore all of a sudden. So I still love that track. I know it's not the best streaming track of the album, because that is obviously the track with Maia. But Oumuamua is my favorite, I think, because it's just, it's completely experimental. It's something new, and it's just me fooling around in the studio, which I absolutely love. So, and I play it as the opening track of many of my sets nowadays. So it seems to work really well.
Well, speaking of your sets, you just wrapped up Summer in Ibiza. You just played Mysteryland, I think back in August. You're going to be playing the 25th anniversary of Blueprint in Canada this weekend. What is the first thing that goes through your mind when you step out on stage?
Well, usually I'm just going over the tracks in my head. I'm pretty practical like that. No, I'm always, I'm actually speaking to you on my laptop, and on the other screen, I'm actually working on a song right now. So, and I just hope to finish a version that I can play. I think that's one of the most exciting things for me to do right now. That a lot of the productions that I play in my sets, they're not even finished. They're just like I'm testing them. I've got this new track called La Bomba, which is a track that I'm doing with Blaster Jacks. And I've been playing the instrumental of that for a long time in my sets. And now we've added some vocals to it. So I'm looking forward to play the vocal version this weekend to kind of road test it. So most of the tracks that I actually release that are on Feel Again as well, I've road tested. Like One More Time with Maia Wright. For the first time, I played it at Ultra Miami in March. So that was, and it wasn't even finished then. It was just a demo version. And the crowd really went off on it, and it really worked. So I already saw that something could happen with that track, because it's a very radio-friendly track. And it was really fun to kind of road test it and see if it works. And that's the luxury position that I have. I get to be on a plane, and when the plane actually descends and it goes down, I quickly render the file. I upload it to a USB, and it's exciting, man, because in the past, so sometimes there were little render mistakes or like little errors in the file.
And then you play it?
Play it, yeah. I think for me, one of the reasons I'm still DJing and to keep it exciting is really about, for me, to keep it exciting. So if I would play a pre-programmed set every week, that would bore me. But if I get to play like 4 or 5 brand new songs or mashups or whatever I've done, it's always like when I think, to answer your question, when I go on stage, I'm like, oh, I'm so excited to play that track, and I'm kind of building my sets toward that moment. And the crowd may not even notice that it's a new track, but for me, it's just the fun of that,
That's so awesome. Now, speaking of songs, do you remember the first dance song that you fell in love with that got you into dance music?
It must have been a Georgia Moroder track or something. I think it was The Chase. I was really in love with everything that Jean-Michel Jarre did. I don't even know if it's dance music, but I think right now we would call it trance. But back in the day, it was just synthesizer music. My dad used to listen to this really obscure kind of electronic music that in the 70s was, trance was not even a word at the time. It meant something completely different. And now you have all these genres and labels for it. But as a little kid, I remember my dad's record collection. And he bought these incredible, LPs and EPs. And I was, as a little baby, I remember there's pictures of me staring at those big covers, And I remember watching the cover of Concerts in China by Jean-Michel Jarre. My dad used to play that to death, the vinyl version. And the music was just so it was so different, It's like, what is this? The samples from Chinese people. And I couldn't, it was not like the kids' music that my mom used to play for me. It was very experimental. Yeah, I love that. It's just amazing.
I think one of the first songs that I said that same thing was Higher State of Consciousness by Josh Wink. When I heard that, I was like, what is this? What are these sounds? And that's kind of what got me in love with dance music. Finally, in Finky's firsts, who was the first person to tell you that One More Time went number one?
I think it was my manager, Michael. Yeah, he told me. He sent me a text. Like, you're not going to believe it.
And who was the first person to tell you it was 2 weeks in a row?
Right. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about this smash. How was the song born with Maia Wright?
I went to a writing session in Sweden, and we did it a little bit different this time. Because actually, I went there with my friend Benno, and we hired 7 studios simultaneously. And what we did is we prepared a lot of instrumentals and rough ideas, piano lines, loops, not even songs, just 30-second clips, 1-minute clips. And we also hired 7 producers. So every room had a producer, had a writer, and had a top line person. And I was like, this is going to be a big experiment. But all the music was, I had first choice on everything. And I was just walking between all these rooms, which was really exciting. And I remember walking into the room where Maia was, and she was together with Lucky Lou. Her name is Louise. She's amazing. She's an amazing vocalist and an amazing writer as well. And we just started talking about I wanted to create an energetic song for the summer. It was November of last year. It was cold in Sweden. And I said, think of Miami. Think of the first sun, the spring, going out again. COVID's gone. We can finally celebrate. Think of that, that kind of feeling. And then we came up with the idea for the top line One More Time. And so we wrote the idea. And then they started recording it. And I came back, I think, an hour later in that room. And the song was done. It's like, what?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's amazing. So I love this energy. And actually, I took all the parts with me home. We wrote 28 songs in those 4 days. And it's the most productive I've ever been in studios. It's so great. Just walk. At some sessions, you just stick around for 3 hours. Some sessions, you walk in for 10 minutes. You just give an idea. And we came home and we tried to re-record the vocals to see if it was better. But we stuck to the original vocal that was actually recorded in Stockholm, in Sweden, that very first session, because there's an energy to it. The way she sings, do it one more. She gives the energy so much.
I'm sorry, hold on. Can we get you singing that one more time, please?
I can't even make that. My voice doesn't even get to the A. Yeah, no, she's amazing. Like, Maia is just, she could be the next big superstar. She's an amazing vocalist. I actually performed the song with her quite a few times on stage before it was released. And I already saw that the kids were really loving her as a person on stage. And she really appeals to a younger audience. And I have to be honest with you, I'm going into a lot of writing sessions. I mean, today I'm in LA to do writing sessions as well. And half of the tracks that I write don't end up getting anywhere. The other half, make up for the other half that don't get anywhere. So it's all worth it. And it's really strange how sometimes things don't work out, and that's a magical thing. That's why computers can't make music. It's all a human thing. And Yeah, I'll never forget the energy that was in the room when Maia was recording that vocal. It was just, it was amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing on pretty much everything she puts out. Now, I don't think I've ever talked to you about this before, but when you're going through the process of creating music, do you revise songs a lot? Are there normally a lot of versions of songs?
Oh, yeah. On my phone, as we speak, I have about 25 tracks that are in the works. And it's not a big deal. I mean, it's like it ranges from vocal hooks, piano lines, and finished songs, and everything in between. So, my next few releases are on there, but there's also like a lot of versions. So there might be like 20 versions of my next big single, and it's all different edits. Because I have to be honest with you, in most cases, I can't really tell you if the edit is good. So I have to play it in my car like several times a day, and I usually make 2 or 3 edits to see what works on radio. And sometimes 2 minutes 20s is too short, 2 minutes 40 is too long. It's kind of like feeling what's going on, listening to a lot of other tracks that are current, tracks that I love, and just a lot of car testing. I love going for coffee and just putting a rough version of the track in the car, because in the studio it's great, but as soon as you sit in the car or you go for a run, I do that a lot. When I go for a run and I listen to the song, usually instantly you're like, oh, this is too long, or this is too short, or the melody there is a little bit boring, or we need to change that, or that vocal needs to be fixed. And I'm really excited. So on part 2 of Feel Again, the album that is dropping actually on October 21st, there's another 4 songs that we wrote on those in the same writing camp in Sweden.
You remember when songs were able to be 7.5, 8 minutes long, and it wasn't a problem?
Yeah, I love that. Actually, I'm a fan of the longer versions sometimes, but one of my favorite all-time tracks is Donna Summer's "I Feel Love." The Patrick Cowley remix, and I think that's 12 minutes, but to me, there's a reason why that track just needs that length. Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen is probably one of the most beautiful pieces of music ever written, and that's 6 minutes. I think a song should take as long as it should take. If it's interesting enough, who cares if it's half an hour or just a minute? It's and most Beatles songs were only 1 minute and 40 seconds or something.
Were they really that short?
Yeah. A lot of Beatles songs are actually under 2 minutes. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, congratulations on One More Time with Maia Wright going number 1 for the 2nd week in a row. It's always awesome chatting with you. Oh, before I forget, when I was talking with Audion, we were talking about Burned with Desire, and such a great song. We were talking about how the song is possibly older than you are. Is that true?
No.
It's such a classic, absolute classic. Armin van Buuren, thank you so much for your time on America's Dance 30. It's great seeing you again.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much for the call, and keep up the good work.